So what is up, guys? You got your boy Jet Stinger here today, and today we're back with some reverse 1999 content, and today we're going to be doing a video talking about Mercuria's team options. I did ask in a poll, which of the two would you like to see between that and the showcase? You guys voted majority for the team review. So hey, more praise for you guys, man. I was excited. I was excited to do either or. I just want to see which ones you guys did want to see, and you guys came through. Anyway, so we're going to talk about the main teams that you should be running with Mercuria, of course, breaking down synergies as to why they work. And without further ado, let's get right into it with the team we have here today. Alright, so this is going to be the first team option. This is going to be the free-to-play team option. These are basically off of the units that you can particularly get with the same banner as Merc. Of course, you can get Synergies for free. If you just started on this patch, then unfortunately you will not be able to get Symbol for free. So I would try to replace her with any other option, but this is basically the team that's going to help Charlie perform a little bit better. Charlie is still a pretty decent 5-star unit because she does have a pretty good damage spike at 80% or below HP when she's at P3. If you're looking to use her at P0, it gets to be a little bit more tricky because you have to be at 50% HP or less, which is definitely not the greatest, but you'll probably run into a few Charlies as you're trying to pull for Merc, unless you end up getting super lucky and you pull her like in one multi, which then it gets to be a little bit more tricky. But do I think you should keep pulling it in banner till you get Charlie P3? I'm not really sure. Even if it's your first real potential DPS option, I really wouldn't push it until you get the 6-star unit and you can say pulls to do the next unit. Of course, again, she is 5 stars, so that means it is more likely that you would get the unit, but at the same time, you could also save those pools for other potential characters that are releasing in the future or other rerun banners that are currently ongoing, such as the Isolde 6 banner, which actually isn't a bad banner for newer players to pull on because both of them are actually still pretty good. But anyway, the whole core of this team is obviously to make Charlie do the one thing that she gets memed on, which is crit. Basically, you have Mercuria here who can give her both critical rate and critical damage as a buff. She also gives incantation might bonus, which is also a really good mix here for Charlie, because Charlie really, her big damage really does come from her skills. As you can see, when she is in status of a positive status, this attack can deal more mental damage. So when she's in these positive statuses or below 80% HP, as I mentioned before, she can deal a little bit more damage with her skills, of course ranging at pretty high modifiers. And of course her ultimate is just a nice little mass attack that she can use, and that's pretty good. Now obviously we have Merc here. Merc is going to be, of course, the unit that you pull on the banner, and it's going to be the main crit rate buffer for her. You can give up to 30% crit rate, and of course you have the cosmic energy buff, which can give a varying different buffs, which is critical damage plus 30% and incantation might plus 20%, which is something that she does actually appreciate. Charlie does want having extra incantation might because her big damage does come from her skills normally. So pretty good. Of course, you have Yensei. You can actually get Yensei if you spend so much as $1, I believe. I think it's like $1 or $2, and basically it's a special pack. They get you one pull and the ability to select either her, Ulu, or Bicorn. If you're looking to kind of get this team as glued up as you can, get Yensei. Then you have her right then and there. Of course, she does not have to be P5. She could just be P0, and she's just going to be your main healer for this team, and that's just what she's going to be providing for this team. She also does provide a damage delta bonus with her debuffing skill, which is going to be nice for Charlie to take advantage of to get a little bit extra damage, which is always fine. And then we have a secondary buffer here in Synergies. Synergies is free, and she can also act as a sub DPS on her own, and she can also buff up crit rate. So she can buff up with the fresh blood effect, which actually gives you critical rate plus 15% for the specific action, which is good because combining this with Merc's buff, this stacks on top with each other to give Charlie a little bit more crit rate. And of course this gives her better boosting damage. Of course she gets additional damage with her ultimate as well, and it also gives a bit of mitigation effect on it as well. So it's a pretty okay starting team for free-to-play players. But that is going to be what the general outlook of this is going to be something like this. Now, do I think other 5-star potential carries could work? It's a bit hard to say because a lot of the 5-star other DPSs like Satsuki and other like Sweetheart, Tanat, Those aren't really spec to be for crit rate, crit damage, but they're just more so standard damage. So Merc's bonuses won't really help them as much. I think Charlie's really the only 5-star DPS in the game, at least according to me, and you know what I've checked, that specs really decently into crit rate, crit damage for builds. But that's just what I have to say about that. But anyway, let's go and get started with the other team that I have here today. Alright, this is going to be the best team for Mercuria. This is going to be the team that centers around Marcus. Now, Marcus is primarily her best partner, but please be warned that this skeleton can be ran with most of the game's current best units. Lucy, Windsong, Spahothea, Jew, all of these units can really be ran in place of Marcus if you do not have her. Marcus just happens to get a little bit of an extra bonus that recommends her over the other units, and that's really because of inheritances. But if you prefer to use Lucy, you prefer to use Jew, you prefer to use Spot, you prefer to use Kala, whatever unit you want to use as the main carry for this skeleton of the team, it works. So this is really much just a good flex all, like it's kind of like a good flex team where you can just kind of put everyone that you could have as a potential carry in this team. But the only reason why Marcus actually shines better here is because of Mercuria's ultimate. Now, Mercuria's ultimate is pretty much a worst Empower Incantation. If you guys don't know how Empower Incantation works, based on its tiering, you can rank up your abilities. One of the prime examples of this is someone like Anali, who is basically made famous for this effect, where she can rank up one of her incantations at random to the furthermost right of her card, or a random card whenever she casts her ultimate. However, one of the things that's triggered from Empower Incantation is the additional effects that come off abilities. So for example, if I cast a 2-star cast of Beating Heart, I get a stack of Power Burst. But with this effect from Mercuria, which is from her ultimate, guess what? We do not get that bonus. So whatever effects that trigger from the 2 to 3-star cast of specific cards, you don't get that bonus. You don't get the modifier buff. You just get the ability being casted as a 2 to 3-star incantation, which is the primary option of the ultimate. So it's a pretty underwhelming ultimate in my honest opinion, but this does work with Marcus's inheritance. Marcus' inheritance effect specifically states if you cast a ability at a rank 2 to 3-star incantation, you can get Moxie +1 to self as part of her Percival buff, which of course can be triggered if she has 3 or more plant, spirit, or intelligence allies. Of course, herself being plant, Merc being spirit, Vila in both Kakania. Kakania is kind of a flex spot here, but Vila of course being plant, you have the effect triggered on pretty much all stages in the game. So that's pretty much that. But this is a really good way to act as a good battery while Merc's ultimate is active. If you actually do take Merc to P1, it becomes 2 stars instead, which she can give Moxie +1, which actually does help Merc be a little bit more consistent with how she can get up her ultimate, which helps the Marcus team a little bit better. And of course, this also allows for her to kind of course, help out Marcus's overall ability, as I said before. Of course, Mark can still provide that great critical damage up effect, the crit rate, the incantation might. Vila also providing similar bonuses of crit rate, crit damage, and modifier buff. And Kakania is pretty much flexible. I put her here because she's a really good sustain for the team. She's pretty much the #1 sustain in terms of being able to help survive. But if you really don't care too much about survival or the flat attack bonus that you get from her buff, you can pretty much slot her out with whatever support that you feel most comfortable with. Of course, another option I would scream at pretty much immediately is Isolde. His biggest reason why is because, of course, Isolde can give up to 75% damage bonus. I've said this several times. But another good reason is going to be the fact that she can lower critical defense. And since we're relying on the critical damage to be our main source of damage, this is a really, really good way to help with accelerating damage. Of course, at 3 stars, you get a massive 50%, which is pretty strong. Another good option actually is going to be 6 for the very same reason. He has the ability to debuff as part of its recollection of debuffs. He also has access to buffs, which can also give Empower Incantation, the real version, which can also help accelerate as well. So this can be a really good option to pass to someone like Merc, who can give stronger critical rate boost or something, or even pass to Marcus, so she can get instant 3-star cast out of nowhere, which is pretty good. Of course, you can get it off her rank up effect when she has enough Eureka, and then you get another rank up off 6, which can trigger a 3-star incantation, which of course is going to be pretty nice. If you do run with 6 at P0, Merc, it does actually flex into the team a little bit better, because this allows for Mercuria's inheritance effect to be triggered a little bit more easier, because she can give herself +1 Moxie for a maximum of 3 if an ally casts a incantation at 3 stars. So yeah, so that is pretty cool. So that is a really good option there. But that's pretty much the main skeleton. As I said before, the DPS of choice doesn't have to be Marcus. I said this before, you can run her with Lucy, you can run her with Jude, you can run her with Spoth, you can run her with Kala. They're just so, you can definitely run her with Winsong, but there's so many good options that you can run with this core team, these 3 or these 2 more specifically, that it just fits in pretty much whatever content you ever feel comfortable with. For example, since this stage is going to be something that Marcus is weak to, I could just go, okay, fine, I'll just throw Ju on the team. There we go. I have a unit that is stronger in the position. Boom. I'm good now. I don't really have to do anything else. I can literally just, if I don't feel worried about the stage killing me, I can just go Isolde, and now I have a reality shredder with critical defense down, and then I have 2 units who can really give me a lot of crit. You know what I mean? So it's a really good catch-all, be-all team, which is why I highly recommend this team if you have the assembled units with her. But if you don't have Vila, again, you can still run any healer that you want. Vila can be replaced with TF or with Yensei as your primary healer. Again, Vila is definitely a more luxury healer because of what she can do. She's very good for what she does. But if you don't have her, it's completely understandable. If you don't have Kakani, again, she's the most flexible unit in the team, being someone that you can replace with whatever support that you feel that's needed best for your demands. If you want more damage, then you can go with a debuffer. If you want more sustain, which again, Kakani is going to be all the sustain that you need. I would even see another interesting funny option you can also run is actually our good little mushroom friend Ezra. The big reason why I actually recommend Ezra is because he gives a 40% critical damage bonus effect, which stacks up really well with some of these units here. So if I were to take the Marcus option here, right? Merc herself gives you, I believe, 30% critical damage, and she gives you up to 30% crit rate, right? Vila can give you 30% crit rate and 40% critical damage because of Marcus being a mental, and then you have a potential 4th option, which is going to be Ezra, who's going to give you yet another 40% critical damage. So that's like 110 critical damage you could just pass off to Marcus to make her some sort of strong hyper carry, which is, really interesting. So, and then of course you have them both giving critical rate for their varying amounts. Of course, Vila will be 30 in this particular case because Marcus is mental, and then you have Merc, who can give you up to 30% depending on the level of incantation that she casts her crit rate buff on. So that's a really good option there. It's just kind of more of a fun DPS type of thing. But yeah, that's really just it. But that's going to be the team options, guys. Let me know what you guys think in this comment section below. Again, what are some of the teams you're running for Mercuria? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, stay tuned for tomorrow. I will be showcasing off Mercuria in some Limbo based content, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.